Let's see. We got a little cigar left. Currently freezing in Florida, and it's still like in the 50s.
My body's finally starting to heat up. I'm not shaking anymore.
I'm starting to shake. All right, let's see. What
It's
else?
also too much. When I inhale too much nicotine too fast, I start getting like.
There's never too much nicotine.
That's true.
All right, let's see. So here, I think are a few good questions. Let's just hit one of them because you and I are quite verbose. What does goal setting look like for you now versus what it did when you were first starting your business? Is one question. How has your focus shifted from single state operations to multi-state operations? So that's clearly you. I operate in 2 states, but not in the same way that you do. I'm kind of just like over the border. Mm-hmm. But what drove the decision to independently open locations versus franchise locations? That would be for you as well. I have 2 locations, but it's basically the same market. So I would imagine that's for you as well. What do you want to be remembered for when business is all said and done? That's very interesting. What kind of impact do you want to create on the generation of future haulers getting into the trash business? That's a very good one too. So where are you feeling like answering?
What was the first one?
What does goal setting look like for you now versus what it did when you were first starting your business?
Oh, I like that one. I like that one because it's no different. I have been very good about setting 3-meter goals, 3-month goals, and 3-year goals. I've always been very good about that and very regimented about it.
Very important.
So the 3-year goals is the vision, right? Like that, I love, that's like my favorite. And I tell everyone in my business, I'm like, hey, I'm about to tell you the goals. If your butthole doesn't pucker when I tell you this, then we got to go back to square one.
Yeah, it's not big enough.
It's not big enough.
Right.
And it's like so often I'm so off point, but it's like at least I'm shooting for something.
Yeah.
So that's my 3-year goal. And I think the best part about that, the best part about a goal that far out in the future, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, it helps give you a bit of a North Star. And it's like if you make it concrete, and I like visions. Like, so I have gotten very detailed where it's like, all right, I'm going to write out my 2028 vision and I'll sit down. I don't always share this with everybody, but I will like write out, this is where I'm at, like physically, this is where I'm sitting. This is what my life looks like. This is what my business looks like. This is what my employees look like. This is the way it feels at this location. This is the way our communication works. Like I try to get as like detailed as I possibly can, and that helps me set like a North Star, so that then as I walk it back, it's kind of like, well, will this decision help me get to that? So that really helps me. And I used to do that early on. I would
So
just
reflection.
Yes, I mean early on, I would say the change would be they used to just kind of be like, yeah, throw a dart at the wall and it'd be like, let's open locations, and like that is kind of how I grew, which is. It's funny because I don't know that I would do it exactly the same if I did it over again, because so much of it was just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what would stick. But that was also my goal setting at the time. Now I try to like kind of think out like, this is what I want, this is what I believe can be achieved, and then you go a little bit farther and like there's your vision. Yeah. And then the 3 month
so you don't go too far out of whack, because I think that hurts people, right? Because what you just said I think resonates very deeply. It's something that you think you can accomplish, and then you take it that next step.
Yes.
But you don't do like, I just started my business and I want to be $10 million by year 3.
Yeah.
It's like, that's really not attainable.
It's not. I mean, maybe it could be for the right person, but yeah, I mean, well, it wouldn't be for me, but like,
yeah, me.
Yeah, it's weird because attainable is such a strange one, because if you just set attainable goals, they won't be big enough.
Yes.
So it is almost like, what do I believe I can attain, and then what scares me?
There's
that little bit right there, and that's what I like.
I want to be the biggest junk company in the entire country. I hear that all the time, and I'm like, that's
why do you want that?
Well, of course, but it's like that's not really. I don't think that's going to help you, because we want to refine this, like, and refine it and refine it and refine it, and then build from there.
That's an
It's
ego goal, and that's what I
Yes.
struggled with a
Yeah.
lot when I first started. Was my goals would be more egotistical like that. It's like I want to be in all these places, and I never really put thought into why I
Yeah.
wanted that. And as I reflect back in time, it's like a lot of that was I was young, I was full of piss and vinegar, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to be the big and the best
Right.
and I don't even know why I wanted it.
Well, I think it's emulated like in Hollywood, like the biggest swinging dick in the room. Not it's theoretically speaking. But I think that's like you see those movies and you
Boogie
kind
Nights.
What's that?
Like Boogie Nights.
I don't know if I'm familiar with that one.
You want this swinging dick? Never mind.
Well, I think maybe a lot of the viewers might get that one. That was over my head. But yeah, I think that's probably why. It's like being like the biggest, baddest, like, it's kind of, I think it's emulated. Like,
Yeah, and it doesn't really, I don't know that it's going to get you what you want. Not that I've ever been the biggest and the baddest, but I don't know that it would actually feel the way you think it would, or you'd get to where you want. But yeah, I set these goals and I try to make them a little scary, right? And then when I say the 3 months, 3 month is just far enough to where it's like, okay, we got to start doing stuff now because we're going to see those results soon.
Yeah.
And that's every quarter. It's like you refine what you're doing, you go back, you look at it, and a 3 month is a really good period because it's a good check-in period. 3, 5, 6, 7 months, things start to get lost. Every 3 months, you can really check back in with yourself. And then the 3-yard goal is more of like, what am I doing right now?
Yeah.
Like, what is my goal this week, today, this month? Like, what do I need to do right now that's going to help me get to that 3 months? Because I know that 3 month is what's putting me on the path to get to the 3 years.
yes.
Yearly goals are great. I set those too, but I set those more as parameters for the business of like, this is what we want to achieve. And like, so those are more, the yearly goals for
Benchmarks.
me are typically just number based.
Yeah.
3 years is typically more like emotional money, where people are sitting in my business. Like that's more of a like philosophical goal. The yearly ones, yeah, they're basically like, hey, we want to grow at 15%. This is what it's going to put us at. This is what we got to get the phone to ring this much. We got to book at this rate. We want to average about this much per. I like to do. I've never heard anyone else do this, but I like to track per booking. So it's like, this is how much money we make per booking.
Okay.
So not per job, but per booked job.
Well, what's the difference?
So we don't do every job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a big fat zero is going to hurt that. So it's like, if you want your average job to be $500, but your conversion rate's 50%, your average book job is $250. So it's like, if you're charging about $500 per job and you're only coming in at $250, there's your problem. It's your conversion rate, not your pricing.
Right.
So I like that metric. But anyways, you can set these metrics and kind of make it very, very easy to attain. Not easy to attain, but easy to digest. And it's like, this is how we get the year, but then the year is based on the month, blah, blah, blah. But then, yeah, the 3-yard goals, that's the one. The 3 months are good. The year's good. The 3 years really important. The 3-yarder is like, what is right in front of your face that's going to keep you from what we talked about last week, which is taking the low-hanging fruit. It's like, what is going to keep you from chasing the next shiny thing, or just putting out fires instead of dealing with the actual things that are going to move the business. So it's like, the 3-yard goals are super important, and you need to make sure you're chunking those out. And like that, like especially in a position of like running the business, those 3-yarders are the most important for you. It's not always putting out fires. Yes, it's going to happen, but it's like, if all you're ever doing is putting out fires, it's time to hire somebody to help you put out some fires.
Yeah,
Because like,
absolutely.
you just become like, if you are putting out fires, all you're ever going to do is put out fires.
Yeah.
You will never have a chance to actually attain goals because you're too busy doing day-to-day fires. Like, this truck's this, I got this job, this, oh, these guys can't lift this, so I got to go help here. Like, if all you're ever doing is putting out day-to-day fires, it's very hard you're just stuck in the whirlwind, and it's really hard to look at the business from afar. So I like the 3-yard goals. So it's like, I'll literally set and it's like, I got to get this done this week. This is a thing I want to get done this week, because then I got to focus on this next thing, because I got all these things I got to do by the 3 month. So then I just start ticking away at those 3-yard goals.
I think that if you looked at somebody and you saw what they did in the past week, you can predict the future of that person.
It's the reps.
Based on,
It's like I was saying before, it's the
on what
reps.
they did.
Yeah.
It's like, because that's all the future is what you're doing today, right now. Like what we're doing right here, this is actually the past. Like you would think that it's the present time, but it's the past. Like it's everything I just said is just all behind us. It's like, but everything that you do points to the future, and the only way to get there is to.
A perfect example of what you just said goes back to what I said earlier about the guys on the phones, right? Or about like, or sales, outside sales. If we have a really good week in outside sales, I always say, I'm like, that's awesome. That's all because of what we did 60 to 90 days ago.
Yeah.
That's why I care about the outreach, the follow-ups, those reps, because that's what's going to make the lagging indicator 60 to 90 days from now. So you're right. It's like what you're doing right now, what you're doing on a week-to-week, day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis is what's going to show the results in 60 to 90 days. Because if you have a really good week next week, it's not because of what you did that week. Mm-hmm. It might feel like it is, but honestly, that's probably a byproduct of what you did 2 months ago. The customers the outreach you did 2 months ago, the advertising you did 2 months ago, the repeat work you got from 2 months ago. Like it's like, especially in home services, in my opinion, is like we're on like a 60 to 90 day cycle, and so much of what you're doing right now is a byproduct of what you were doing then.
Yes.
And that's why when I say this to all my managers, I say it every year, and I say when it gets slow is when you work the hardest. You work the hardest when it's slow because you're doing the actual work like the easy work is, dude, we got a lot of jobs on the schedule. I gotta make sure this is done. This guy's sick today. Yeah. This guy's girlfriend's bitching about his hours. This is this. I gotta get this job done. I got blah, blah, blah. That's the easy stuff compared to, I don't have any work and we gotta figure out a way to start generating.
For sure.
That's the hard work. So it's like when you're slow is when you work the hardest, because that's what sets you up for the busy times later. And when you're super busy like that, it's like, hey, we got to hire some more people so you're not only putting out fires. And as soon as you're bored again, like I said last week, as soon as you're bored, you better start working again, because like that's when it starts to matter. And it's like, it's all going to be a byproduct the next 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. We'll let the Air Force do their thing.
That's so cool to live right next to this.
The planes are really cool.
Yeah.
Especially the jets that fly over.
Yeah. When they're doing like their practice runs, I'm always like, what are they doing?
I see them like flying in tandem. My wife always makes fun of me with these jets because I'm like this.
Oh, dude, every
grown
man's
I'm like,
oh, look at him.
I just think it's so cool.
That's an F-17.
I don't care how old I get. It's like it's a jet, like it's a fighter jet.
Yeah.
Like
that just doesn't get
the power in those things. And when they open up, sometimes when they're taking off, they're sounding one way, and then like when they get, I don't know, far enough, or maybe
and then you hear it,
and then it's just like they open it up and you're like, wow, that is awesome. And my wife just makes fun of me.
Let her. It's cool.
But my kids love it. Yeah. Like my 18-month-old, like, where's the plane? She just points up now, like everything. She's like, look at that. I just love it.
It's amazing how little we change.
It's awesome. So to talk about the goal stuff, I read a book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who's actually a younger person, and he's written a bunch of books with Dan Sullivan. And his latest book was something about scaling. I forget the name specifically, but something about scaling. And it was all goal-oriented, and it basically changed the framework of how people imagine goals. And so he starts off by going like the New Year's resolution stuff and like why it never actually happens. And we all know that. It's like, because there's really no goal there, and you don't wait to change. Like you just change now. You don't like wait for a time and whatever happens. But in business, he talks about goals and how you can compress the time of achieving those goals by taking this framework. And what it does is it basically eliminates everything that doesn't move you towards that goal. And he explains it by finding a goal that you want to achieve and then pushing it out further to something that seems almost unachievable. So not completely unachievable, like I want to be the biggest junk company in the country, but something like almost unachievable where you're like, okay, like, I don't know if I can actually do that. And so you have a time frame. What's a realistic time frame to achieve this seemingly unachievable goal? And it's like, okay, maybe it's like 5 years. And he's like, okay, now compress that to 1 year, a seemingly unachievable goal that you think realistically could possibly take 5 years, and make that into 1 year. How would you achieve it? So it's like a brain exercise. And you're like, okay, that's very interesting. Well, how would I achieve that? If I had to do it, what am I doing right now, every single day, every single week? Is it pointed towards achieving this seemingly unachievable thing? And then you quickly be like, well, I think I wouldn't do anything that I'm doing right now today to get to that point. And so it just makes you be hyper aware of prioritization in what you're doing. And it forces you to look at your day. You have to audit your day and see, like, what were you doing? Because if you don't pay attention, and physically, you should write it down. Like, if you don't know what you're doing day to day or week to week, like, monitor it. Like, write down what you're doing and then go back and look and just be like, and then upload it to like ChatGPT and be like, what the hell was I doing last week? And it'll be like, well, dumbass, you scrolled on TikTok for
far
17 hours last week. You're like, oh, that's why I didn't do anything. But so then you prioritize everything. You're like, okay, well, so if I was going to try to achieve this in just 1 year, then I would have to just eliminate like 90% of what I'm doing, and I would have to really go hard at this 10% to even come close. It just gives you perspective.
The Science of Scaling. That's the name of that book.
Yes,
it's called The Science of Scaling.
Science of Scaling.
I recently read it. It's a really good book.
It's a really good book, right?
I think that, the
Did
way
I get that right?
You got it. I mean, that's how I understood it. It's like basically like, let's say this is my 5-year plan. Just for shits and giggles, condense it into a year.
Okay.
How would you do it? And I think the main thing that I took away was you realize how much fluff is in between.
Yes.
And so, remove the fluff and watch how much quicker you get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I think, the simplest way for my brain to understand it. That's how, and I recently read it as a terrific book.
Terrific book.
It's The Science of Scaling.
I love his work. I've been reading him ever since he came out with Dan Sullivan.
He is a younger guy.
He is.
Yeah.
He's like our age. We're young, right?
It's a yellow cover, right?
Yeah, yellow cover.
Yeah. Then we're talking about the exact same book. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and he has other good books too. Like I think one of them is like Why 10 Times is Easier Than 2 Times.
I've never heard of it.
And I think that goes into another one is The Gap and the Gain, where you'll have to just look it up.
Yeah.
That's one of the titles. Another one is what's the other one? The Who, Not the Why. Who, Not Why. And it basically talks about finding the right people, and then the why. Well, the why or the how. Who, not how.
I like that.
Who, not how.
Who, not how.
You find the right people, and the how doesn't really matter. Like they'll figure it out, but you need the right people. It's kind of like
one thing that makes me think of that book, but like one thing that I do, that I try to do is every time I read a business book, I have like kind of one main goal when I read it, which is if I read through this, can I grab one nugget that'll help me? And I remember reading that book and that one nugget clicked in my head and I implemented it immediately. And so it's like, then I'll go back and I'll reread that. I'll want to reread that book to see like maybe there's another nugget in there. But yeah, I try not to like, I used to have the habit of like, oh, I got to learn everything in this book.
No,
I have
just
to try
one
everything.
takeaway.
Just one little takeaway and then move to another book. But it's like that's again, the repetition. Like keep reading, keep learning, and like one thing at a time. And also, for anyone, when you have a business, when you have employees, it's like don't try and implement too much at one time. It's like one really good idea is a lot better than 50 subpar ones.
yes.
One idea can really change things. So it's like, and that's why anytime I'm reading a book, I'm trying to get one nugget. And then I'll read 3-4 books in a row and be like, I didn't learn a single thing.
Sure.
And that happens. But like, if I get one nugget from a book, I'll really enjoy it. And I remember that's why I really enjoyed that one, because just one nugget that I pulled from it.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
It's a great book.
The way that I'm reading now is I'm not buying as many books just because of technology, because now all the information is pretty much available. So I talk to ChatGPT a lot, like every day. And I actually use it, and Google's Notebook LM is a great source. I don't know if you're
never even heard of it.
Into this kind of stuff, but you can basically take sources and put them into Google Notebook LM, and it can create like a course for you, or like a syllabus of like how to learn at your pace, and you explain to it like how familiar you are with the subject or whatever it is. And you can give your real life feedback to it. You talk to it like a person.
Yeah.